Hello, this is the HellFire Club Podcast. I'm Majid,
My name's Arturo.
and we're going to be talking about Life, which we saw this weekend.
Yes, Life is a new movie that just came out. It's based off the trailer. It looks like we're in outer space. This is our initial thoughts just by seeing the trailer.
Yeah, just by seeing the trailer, what did you think Life was going to be about?
Well, obviously they're in space. They're in the spacecraft, whatever they're in, and they visit Mars, and and then they obviously bring something back from Mars, and then shit just starts going crazy inside of the space shuttle. So right off the bat, I'm thinking Alien, right? Was that what you were thinking?
I thought mostly Gravity, just because the trailer had a lot of
The person outside in the actual space.
yeah, prison outside, space destruction. I thought, oh, it's going to be Gravity.
I was thinking Alien, and it's starring has Ryan Reynolds, Jake Gyllenhaal, and those are like the two main actually famous
The
actors.
big name actors.
Yeah, everybody else is good in it though. So we'll do like a pre-spoiler.
Yeah, pre-spoilers. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah, so based off that trailer, we went in thinking like this is gonna be kind of like a sci-fi in space, kind of like the movie Alien, something like that. And I didn't really have a high expectation for it. I was just kind of open, see how it turns out.
Open to the idea of the movie.
Yeah. Were you kind of feeling the same way, or did you think it was gonna suck, or did you think it was gonna be good, or?
Well, usually I don't watch trailers just because I think they give away too much of the movie.
Yeah.
But I went into this one. I actually watched one trailer. So I watched the first trailer you sent me. And I first I got Alien when they were in the pods on the trailer. I thought, oh, this is gonna be aliens. Right. But then when they had all the destruction outside, I was like, oh, maybe it's more Gravity.
Interstellar or something like
yeah. And then but I was interested in it. I didn't watch any more trailers after that.
Right.
So I wanted to go in not knowing anything about the movie.
Okay. So then we'll just
So I guess I had some expectations of it to be good.
Yeah. Same here. I was kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be good, but I was prepared to not be disappointed. Or wait, not be disappointed. I was prepared for it to not be that good.
Yeah. So we'll kind of get into it a little bit before we actually start spoiling it. So it started off kind of slow, kind of obviously you don't it starts off they're already in space. They're already in there, and it's kind of slow. They're building this relationship with the characters, and them all together. There's 6 characters inside of the space shuttle, and they end up going to Mars. And
well, they don't really go to Mars.
They don't go to Mars. They're like close by, and they pick up.
I guess there was a drone that went to Mars. Picked up some soil samples. Soil samples.
Back in.
Yeah, and then they brought the capsule back into this International Space Station.
Right, and then each character had their own duty, right? So that is his name Hugh.
Hugh was a medic,
the British dude, right? Yeah. And he was the one who was
he was the scientist kind of guy.
And he was the one who was closely working with the sample.
Yeah, he
was his mission.
His mission was to study the sample and I guess report back to Earth about what they found, and then there was Ryan Reynolds, which was the mechanic.
Right. Then that other chick was kind of the captain who oversaw everything. There was a couple girls, and then
2 girls.
Then everybody, and it's kind of cool because everybody's kind of from their
different country.
Native country, right? And they have their flag obviously on their suit, and you can kind of see that there's people from the dudes from Japan, and England, and the United States, and then, but yeah, it was cool, and it had a lot of. It ended up being really good. I thought it was pretty good. It had a lot of action, suspense. I'm just trying to I'm just gonna give my thoughts before because I don't want to get into the spoilers what we just talked about everything.
Okay.
So overall, what do you think?
I liked it.
What would you give it? Like if out of 100, like if you're doing a percentage.
Out of 100.
Like if you're doing a percentage, 100% being like the best.
The best. I would probably say 70%.
70?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking 78. I don't know why I had that 78.
78?
78.
Okay, very specific.
Yeah,
78.
So I was thinking like a 78. So you would recommend it?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Right. I mean, I could see where people probably wouldn't like the movie.
Yeah, there's some parts in it.
Yeah.
I haven't read the reviews, but I know some reviews. I saw some reviews like just on like Rotten Tomatoes or Fandango and stuff that were kind of give it around C+ too.
Yeah.
Kinda like where we're at. I mean, it wasn't like
a
amazing
game-changing movie,
but I mean, it was good. And it had everything, like it kind of like they covered they kind of went into depth with how the actual Martian, I guess we would call it, alien or Martian, whatever.
Okay.
What would you call it? Calvin.
Yeah, we'll call it Calvin.
Yeah. How it developed and how they triggered it, how it turned hostile and everything like that. Well,
okay. Well, yeah. So let's just go into spoilers.
Spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's worth the watch, and you know.
I would say if you like aliens,
sci-fi,
yeah. Not aliens, but Alien.
Yeah.
You probably might like this one.
Yeah, but just don't compare it and be like, oh, it's the same shit, and then just shit on it. Like, just kind of go in there.
Yeah, I mean, because it's pretty much the same movie.
But I mean, just go in there knowing that it's gonna be kind of like that, but just kind of look at it like its own movie.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's Alien, but it's
the best attitude you're gonna have to have if you're an Alien fan or something.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll get right into spoilers. So yeah, go watch it if you haven't already,
yeah. Okay, so.
All right.
I have some problems with the movie. Yeah, just some criticisms is a lot of things happen very conveniently. Like how did this alien become like so smart where it knew just everything that was on the ship?
That's the thing. Okay, and I kind of agree with you, but I think like the cop-out kind of answers that we don't know anything about it because it's from a different planet, so we don't know it's intelligent, but it's kind of like something to fall back on kind of thing. Like, oh, it's from Mars, so yeah, we don't understand its intelligence, so you could kind of just use that. But no, I agree, because that dude, and by the way, they ended up naming the Martian Calvin. So it started off like probably like an inch long. It was kind of...
It looked like a slug.
Yeah, like a slug. And then throughout time it started growing a little bit. And then it ended up... when did it grow? After...
Well, it was growing exponentially. And it was growing really quick. And then Hugh accidentally...
he messed with the levels, right?
Yeah,
the
he messed with the
levels, because they have him inside of a tank, and then so he goes stagnant, right? He's just like not moving.
Yeah, so Calvin goes into hibernation.
So stunts his growth, and then the rest of the crew was actually relieved because he was growing
really
fast,
quick. Yeah.
So he went from like an inch to probably like 5 inches, 6 inches, I would say. Before he went like stagnant, you think, like, or
no, because he was still small, and he was like remember because he put his finger, he was still kind of small.
Yeah, so he grew a couple inches. Though,
yeah,
and then he stopped, and then
and then Hugh had the brilliant idea to.
At this point, Hugh's getting really attached to the thing, though. He's looking at like it's a little like his buddy, like he's just attached to it.
Yeah, like his little baby.
He's emotionally invested because he almost. Raised it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He was the one interacting with it.
The most, yeah. So he was all bummed out when this thing wasn't moving. And then, of course, because that was kind of like the whole mission, so now it's kind of stagnant. And it wasn't dead. They could tell that it was still alive. It was just kind of like in a deep sleep, like coma type state.
Yeah.
So they knew that it was still alive. It just wasn't moving. It wasn't growing. But it was still alive.
Okay.
And then...
And then
attempt to revive it. Right?
Yeah, he brings in that electrical little probe.
Yeah.
And starts electrocuting the little thing.
Trying to give it life.
Yeah.
And this is where we first see this is where they first reveal the hostility that comes from this thing. Like, it turns hostile pretty much.
Yeah.
because up until then it didn't express any hostility.
No, it was
humans.
it was supposedly curious. It was just that's what they said. Oh, its curiosity outweighs its fear.
Right. So then he shocks the thing, and it just jumps on his hand and just wraps around his hand and
just starts breaking every
bones. And he was trying to pull his hand out because it's kind of like, for people who haven't seen it, it's at this point everybody's seen this movie, right? At this point of the review.
Yeah, at this point of it.
Yeah, because
unless they didn't.
Yeah, unless you guys didn't stop it and go watch it
and just don't care.
It's kind of like it's a tank where you can put your hands in. And it has those gloves.
It has 2 gloves, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so they gets a hold of one of his hands and it breaks his hand, and then Ryan Reynolds is like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going in, and he goes in there to try to save him.
Well, no, but before that, the problem. This is like the problems that I had was.
Okay.
So, the electrical probe is inside the tank with Calvin.
Right.
And then when Calvin breaks Hugh's hand, and then and then releases Hugh, and he's like, floating outside in the little area.
And he's Calvin tries kind of like passed out.
Yeah, Calvin tries Calvin tries to get out through the glove.
Right. This is where we first see that he's really fucking smart.
Yeah,
this is a little too smart.
Yeah.
Though. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And so Calvin couldn't get past the glove because it's
like a
super thick material. So he gets the probe, breaks it in half, and then cuts the glove open.
And mind you, at this point, Calvin just looks like a little starfish
or
something,
like a little
jellyfish or something. And he snaps his probe in half and he stabs through the glove, and then he enters he gets outside of his little tank.
Yes, and then it's just roaming around.
Right. So they were like, the intelligence on this thing is kind of like.
Yeah.
And that's just the beginning.
That's just the beginning part.
Yeah, the students of.
So then, Ryan Reynolds. That's when he just lets it all go. Yeah. Opens up
He kind of overrides the captain's
orders,
right? Because she doesn't. At this point, she wants to keep it kind of contained.
Yeah, because that's the firewall.
Right. So they're like, no, we can't go in there. But then Ryan Reynolds is like, no, well, fuck it, we gotta save him. Save Hugh. So he opens the door, goes in there, takes Hugh out, but then they kind of trap him in there, right? Because Calvin was trying to come through the door.
Yeah. Well, because Calvin jumped on Ryan Reynolds' leg.
That's right.
And then that's when Jake Gyllenhaal shuts the door in his face, and he was like, and then Ryan Reynolds was like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
I understand.
Right.
And so
they did save Hugh. They pulled Hugh out of that room, but at the same time, now that we have
Ryan Reynolds is stuck.
Yeah.
Which that kind of bothers me because Hugh was just getting on my nerves every single step of the way.
No, it feels like
he was just making the dumbest decisions.
I'm like, this fucking alien this Martian is not your friend. Like, can't you see that he's fucking hostile?
And like, he's supposed to be the smart guy in the spaceship. He was doing the stupidest moves.
And then it sucks because he was pissing me off. And then you actually kind of like Ryan Reynolds' character.
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's comedic. He's like, he has good spirited. He went and he was like the first dude to try to like not sacrifice himself, but he like took the risk to go in there to try to save him. So you like that character. You grow to like him.
Yeah.
And he ends up going in there. Once he's locked with the thing, he ends up trying to fight it off.
Yeah, trying to kill it.
Yeah, so he grabs like this fucking
the blowtorch.
It's like a flamethrower kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a flamethrower, and he ends up using all this fuel just trying to blast him. And he was blasting the thing.
Yeah, but I don't think it didn't affect him at all.
Yeah,
like
and at this point we don't know how this thing takes damage or what it's immune to or how you fight it. So his best attempt was just to get this like blowtorch flamethrower thing and just light it on fire, pretty much.
But as a viewer, you saw that the thing was taking no damage.
Right. He would move around, but he was still like alive and well.
Yeah, like it didn't look like it was like really he was getting away from it.
Right.
But it didn't look like it was phasing him.
Yeah, and at that point, you could even say that he was because this thing is so smart that you could probably even think he was like okay with like letting Ryan Reynolds just empty out his fuel.
Yeah.
Because this shit, he knows everything.
This thing was
apparently
like way too smart.
Apparently he knows everything, so he's probably thinking, I'm gonna just let him run out of fuel, and then I'm gonna attack him once he's out of fuel.
But see, and so if I was Ryan Reynolds, right, I'd have been like, oh, this guy doesn't care about this fire. And so I'd have been like, you know what, like, he's not on me anymore. Let me see if I can tell those fools, hey, this fool is like in a cupboard. Yeah. Let me get out of here.
You know what? That's what I thought they were first doing. That's why I was like, what the hell? Because when he was first blasting him, he was towards the door where the whole rest of the crew was at. So obviously they weren't going to open the door. But then he blasts him where Calvin is now on the other side of the room, away from the door. And I thought, like, okay,
now he could get out.
He could just get out, and we'll contain it in that little room. But instead of doing that, he just kept going after it, trying to kill it. Like,
so this is like why we're like all the, like, things became way too convenient. Yeah, because the logical thing I thought was to just escape and then think of a plan. You could even bring that gun with you, and then think of like, okay, how are we gonna fight this thing, or what are we gonna do? Are we just gonna contain it in there? But he was so set on trying to kill it that he ends up running out of fuel, and then spoiler alert, Calvin goes into his mouth and straight destroys that fool.
Calvin the Martian just goes into Ryan Reynolds' mouth, crawls inside, and like just. What'd you think of that scene? I thought it was kind of cool, like the way.
The way he died.
The actual death. Yeah. Because he goes in there, cool. I don't know if he was inside ripping up his organs or something.
I figured he was eating all his organs.
And I felt like he couldn't breathe. Like, I don't know if he blocked, like, his,
Well, I just, like, we forgot when he killed the mouse, right? Oh, how he wrapped around it and just, like, absorbed the mouse. Yeah. So I figured.
The mouse kind of just disintegrated.
Yeah. So I figured that
and then
that's
he
what
grew from that too.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He just went into his body and was just eating everything.
Yeah, inside. So it looks like it kind of, you could see the distress look on Ryan Reynolds, and he starts like kind of collapsing.
Like, he's like understands like, oh, like I'm.
But he was like choking, like you could just see it in his face, and then he's kind of twitching, like his head is kind of like those sudden.
Yeah, he was coughing up blood.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say, and then after that you start seeing the blood come out. Well, his eyes kind of turn red and.
Yeah.
Like, and then he started just coughing up blood a little bit, and then it just started just shooting out.
Yeah, and then that's when he was dead, and then he kept moving because Calvin was still in there, like moving him around.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think he was gonna be the first one to die.
Yeah, I didn't think Ryan Reynolds would be the first off.
I thought he acted that pretty well. Like his face, like you could tell, like he looked like he was really dying.
Yeah,
like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought that scene was kind of cool because that kind of set the tone. You're kind of like, oh shit, like this fool's, he's really trying to, like, he's really gonna kill these people. And then after that, he comes back out, and then he's obviously stronger, bigger.
Much bigger.
So he goes from that. So at this point, it's kind of like you can assume that he kind of feeds off that the blood, right?
Yeah.
He has this thing where he can sense the blood. And
like in the air.
Yeah. So at this point, you're like, okay, this thing is completely hostile. He's killing these humans. He's growing from it, and it's just obviously that's the direction the movie's gonna go.
Yeah, and then another thing that was way too convenient is so Calvin is now stuck in the science area.
Right.
The door's locked and everything. Mm-hmm. Ryan Reynolds already dead. Mm-hmm. You would think, okay, they're just gonna leave him in there, but the little flamethrower hits the little fire detector.
Yeah,
and it's like,
that is
how convenient. So it hits a fire detector, and then all the sprinklers go on.
Yeah.
Are they even sprinklers in space?
No, I don't know. They were kind of like these vents that opened up.
Yeah, it would be like oxygen or something.
Right.
It was some kind of some type of oxygen thing or whatever.
Right. So there's kind of like these kind of like these vents in the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah, they open up and they just start spewing this smoke inside the
right
inside the science room.
So now they're all like, "Oh shit, he's gonna come in. He's
Yeah,
gonna
and
get
then,
out through there." And then they're like, "Oh, we can close them, but we have to do them one by one."
Yeah, one by one. And so the
Japanese,
I forgot his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so he goes. Well, he tries to do it all at the same time, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm locked out."
He was actually doing kind of a good job, and this is where they kind of built suspense because Calvin was jumping from each one.
One by one.
One by one, and he was getting closer and closer every time. It seemed like, like he was almost getting out, and then they would shut it.
Until the last one,
until the very last one.
Obviously, I mean, the movie has to keep going on, right?
Right. So he ends up
getting out into the little vent.
Right. And at this point, they're like, "Well, we don't see him anymore."
But now they don't know where Calvin is on the ship.
Yeah. So now it's like, oh shit. So now this is where it's like, okay, we don't have any control of him. He got away. We don't know where he's at.
Yeah. So the firewall is broken.
Right. And we have Ryan Reynolds dead, floating in there. And then this Calvin, we don't know where he's at.
Yeah. Now he's out and about. Mm-hmm. So they try to do a little communication back to NASA or whatever the headquarters was.
And then this is what I was gonna ask you: was that just a malfunction, or was this Calvin that smart that he like disconnected all communication back to Earth?
I don't.
The system happened to shut down at that time.
At the exact same time.
So I was like, they're like, oh, I mean, they were still able to communicate within
the ship.
Yeah, to each other,
but not
back to
not
Earth.
Outside.
Yeah. And I was like, what happened there? Like,
but I think they said something like, didn't they say like, could Calvin have done it? I think I don't know.
But at this point, you can assume that he did, because this dude could do anything.
Yeah. So I think was she Russian?
Something like that. Yeah. Sounded Russian.
I think it was like the next person up to do spacewalks.
Uh-huh.
She goes out and she's trying to realign the satellite or something, and then she goes to one of the vents or
right,
and then so Calvin can survive pretty much any type of climate.
Yeah, at least for temporarily, at least for a good little while, right? Because they had that plan where if he doesn't have enough oxygen, they're gonna kill him off that way later.
Yeah,
on.
but
at this point he can go into space because he's in space.
But and he was in space for kind of like this is where the problems that I got into with later on. Mm-hmm. So he was in space for a while,
right?
But I guess he was feeding on the coolant and in the space station. I don't. That's what they were saying. I don't know.
But he was actually outside, so he was in the space. And he was like kind of crawling around the ship, and then you're talking about when they start blasting him. Remember that part?
No. But before that, when she opens up the the filter or whatever, and he jumps out and attacks her or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like in her little space suit, being all calm in space.
Yeah.
And this is how smart he is. He's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna crush a coolant line and make you straight drown.
Yeah, so
first, how on earth is this?
It's not on Earth though. We're in space.
How would this little monster never seen a spacesuit ever in his life, right?
Right.
You could, I guess, assume that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they've never seen this thing.
And this thing only kind of got brought to life because they took it out of Mars, because once it's in the soil or whatever, remember, it's not really alive. So they kind of
brought it to life.
Right. So exactly. So it had never seen anything, and it just knows what to do.
So it knows that this suit has coolant lines. It crushes one, and then just
so the girl's in her astronaut, the whole suit and everything.
Yeah, and it starts filling up with water.
Yeah, like where her head is at, her helmet.
Yeah.
And then so it starts off just a little bit of water, and then ends up just building up. And at the same time, it's kind of a race of her trying to get back into the ship.
Because Calvin wants to get into the ship, so he says, I guess in his mind, he's gonna crush it, and then she's gonna race to get back into the ship.
And he's gonna come in with her.
Yeah.
And that was her plan. That was the plan that they kind of at that time, because she was still able to talk. So her and Jake Gyllenhaal are gonna meet up and at a door and bring her back in,
and then figure out what to do later.
Right. So
with Calvin inside now.
So she comes to the door, and by this point the helmet is filled up with a lot of water.
Yeah.
So she starts kind of choking, and he's trying to tell her, like, communicate. They have
to
open the door a certain way. One's clockwise, the other one's counterclockwise. So at first it seemed like she was opening the door.
Yeah, she was trying to, and then I guess she realized, like, now she's gonna sacrifice herself to kill Calvin, like have him float off in space.
Right. So she's like, I'm not gonna go back in there and bring this thing in with me because it's too deadly.
Yeah.
So then she locks. So she stops trying to open the door and get back inside.
Yeah, she actually actively closing the door.
Yeah.
And then so in her mind, the new firewall is the spaceship. Mm-hmm. And Calvin's out in space.
Yeah. So then she kind of just jumps away from the door and she just floats off into space.
Yeah.
With Calvin on her, and she chokes and drowns pretty much and dies.
Yeah, and also the coolant is, I guess, toxic too.
Yeah.
So and then Calvin jumps.
So now it's two dead.
Two dead. Calvin's racking up the body count.
Yeah, and then Calvin's just getting smarter.
Yeah.
This whole time he's just.
And then so Calvin jumps off of her and back onto the outside of the ship, and is just crawling around trying to figure out how to get back inside.
Right.
And then that's when he was like, that's when they asked how what are ways that he could get inside the ship, because now it's the new firewall. Mm-hmm. And he said, oh well, the thrusters.
Right, the thrusters.
And then
that's when they're like, well, how are we gonna know if he's trying to get in? And the Japanese homie was like,
well, since he's a life form.
Yeah, we
can see
he had sensors, and it'll
for
pick up the temperature.
Heat, yeah.
And he's like, as soon as we see that there's
a little blimp in the temperature readings,
right?
We'll just blast them
off.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do that, and Calvin was just jumping from thruster to thruster, and having them use fuel again.
Yeah.
And then to the point where, like, we can't do this. We have to save our fuel to get back into.
Yeah, because while they're hitting the thrusters, they got out of orbit and were orbiting back to Earth.
Right.
So they don't want Calvin to go on Earth, because then he's just gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
So they said, we're gonna have to let him come in.
Yeah, because they're like, whatever fuel we have left,
we can only use to get back into the natural orbit of orbiting Earth.
Right. So they stopped, and he came in through the thruster. So now he's back inside.
So now he's back inside.
And he knew to go for the thruster. Like, he knows.
Yeah,
And
what happened?
Who dies after that? We'll just kind of cover
the deaths.
The deaths. And then, you know what? At this point, that's kind of stupid too. Is that Hugh? It seemed like Hugh still kind of had like a soft spot for this thing. Kind of like, it's just that he doesn't. What did he say? He doesn't hate us.
He's just trying to survive.
He's just trying to survive. He's just trying to live. Like, he's justifying everything. He's kind of still attached to the thing.
Oh, was that when they were like, okay, we're gonna lock ourselves into this room?
I'm not too sure.
I think that's when they're like, all right, we're gonna deprive every place of oxygen,
mm-hmm.
and we're gonna be in all like life support, mm-hmm. and we're just gonna stay in here. Mm-hmm. And so then they were all taping up the whole ship and everything. Sealed it all off. And then Hugh saw Calvin. See, this is why I really hated Hugh.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that Hugh, at first you like him because, like, before everything pops off. But at first I kind of liked him. He was smart. He was like, he was cool and everything. And you're like, oh, you think he's gonna be like the
cool,
like a good guy. Well, he was kind of a good guy, but you think he's gonna be like kind of maybe even the hero. I was kind of thinking, but then the more it goes on, the more he just starts like. Just making bad decisions.
Just screwing up every like.
Mm-hmm. So he sees Calvin.
So he sees Calvin, right? And then the next shot, they're inside the room all sealed up.
Right.
And like that's when he was saying, oh, Calvin's not that bad. He's just trying to survive, and we would do the same thing or whatever.
And he's also at this point getting sick or he's getting weak. Like something's going on with him.
Yeah. So you're like what's wrong with this?
Yeah, because he starts kind of like acting funny.
Yeah, he's turning white.
Yeah, he's passing out. And we're all like, well, what happened to him? Like, I'm thinking when he broke his hand, the first encounter with Calvin, like, how bad did he hurt him? What did he do to him that now he's getting sick and he's like passing out, and what's going on?
Yeah, and then like he dies technically. And then they do the little defibrillator.
Right.
And then like they're trying to bring Hugh back to life.
While they're still in this little contained area, sealed off area.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the only place that has life support.
And this actually sounds like a good plan right here.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, they sealed off. They're gonna drain the oxygen out of the rest of the ship, and this could work.
Yeah, and so they're bringing him back to life, and then the commander now notices something with his leg, like is moving, and Hugh is like a wheelchair.
Yeah,
he's wheelchair bound.
Right.
So he has no movement in his legs.
Right.
So she's like what's that? And then she
cut the suit open.
Yeah, they cut the suit open, and then Calvin is just eating on his leg.
Yeah, just to find Calvin in there. Like, oh, the whole plan was a shit. Yeah, now Calvin's inside of there.
And it's like, dude, like even Hugh was like, I feel bad because I got Ryan Reynolds killed. Like he was like, I think like it's my fault or whatever. And then she was like, no, like we could have done this, we could have done that. It's pretty much everybody's fault.
Now, yeah.
But now it's like, all right, fool, you thought you killed Ryan, like you thought it was your fault to kill Ryan Reynolds, and now you're just gonna make even a bigger straight disaster. Now it is your fault that you're killing everybody.
Now, was Calvin so smart to attack the legs because he had no feeling in his legs? Because if he would have attacked another part of his body, or like, because you know how he was attacking him low key inside of the suit.
Yeah.
And did he go for the legs because he wouldn't be able to feel it?
I don't honestly.
You can't count that out because this dude is really smart, so you can't really count that out.
But I figured like Hugh let him.
I kind of thought so too.
Like that's how that was the picture I was getting. I was like, oh, Hugh let him eat his leg to survive.
Yeah, so those
like he's trying to keep Calvin alive.
Yeah, so those were my two thoughts too. I was like, is Hugh letting him?
Because he saw Calvin pass by, and he didn't say anything. Right. It was just like that shot of him like looking like, and not saying, because they were all together sealing up the ship. He could have said like, "Hey, I just saw Calvin over there."
So I was thinking that too. I was like, is he trying to help him in a way because he's attached to him or whatever, or did Calvin, while he was attacking his legs, he didn't have any feeling, so he didn't know? But I guess that's up for debate. That's up in the air. So he ends up dying though.
Yeah.
Hugh ends up dying. So now it's 3 down.
And it could have all been avoided if Hugh would have just died in the beginning.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't have had the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like, if they would have just stuck to the script of like common horror cliches of the black person dying first,
then the
movie would have been over.
Everything would have happened.
They would have just stuck to the script.
But yeah, he kind of did fuck. If there was one person to blame for everything,
it's Hugh.
It's Hugh, because there was a point where they were kind of like, oh, well, it's my fault. Remember, the girl was like, maybe it was your fault, maybe it was my fault, but it doesn't matter anymore. But if you were to put the blame on somebody, it'd probably be Hugh.
I mean, the second part is definitely Hugh, because
because that, out of everything that they tried, that would have been the most successful, well, at least on paper, plan to have worked, was when they sealed themselves off and they were just gonna kill him off, like just by draining all the oxygen out of the rest of the ship.
Yeah, because they said that he couldn't survive. He would have been put back into the hibernated state if there was no oxygen.
So that's 3.
3 down.
So that's 3 down. The next homie who dies,
Japanese homie.
I like the Japanese homie, dude. And then they kind of get you attached to him because he has a picture of his family, and
he just had a kid.
Earlier in the movie, he was kind of doing like this
Skype.
It's kind of like a Skype, FaceTime type of thing, where his wife back home in Japan is
just giving birth to
their baby.
Yeah.
So,
Baby May.
Yeah.
MEI or something like that.
So you kind of grow to like him too, and he's a smart dude. He's real cool and everything. So some shit pops off where they're trying to get away from Calvin, right?
Yeah, because so this was when they find out that Calvin's on Hugh's leg, and
they all just book it,
and they all just straight take off.
Yeah.
This is also what was also dope about the Japanese homie is when Hugh was because Hugh was chasing everybody,
right?
And then the Japanese homie took off into a different direction.
He switched
to have the other two get away.
Yeah.
And he went into the sleeping pod.
Right.
And closed himself inside.
And he shut it just in time. Like, that little suspense was kind of cool because in order for it to close, it takes a couple seconds. So you see Calvin coming. And he was just closing, and then like as soon as it shut, Calvin just got there. Like
even the Japanese homie was I think he was like pulling on it to go a little faster.
Yeah, he was speeding it up. And then the other two did get away.
Yeah,
which was Jake Gyllenhaal and the other girl.
Yeah, they went into like a different place, closed the door.
Right, and then the Japanese dude is chilling inside of his little pod, and inside of there is where he has a picture.
The pictures of his family.
So then you're like, damn.
Did he have a picture? He had a picture of his kid too, huh?
It was like his wife he probably has another kid.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, so he had like some kind of like Polaroid type pictures.
But he was saying, me, I'll like wait for me or something like that.
He's like, I'm coming home, wait for me and all stuff. Well, I don't know. He had pictures of his family on there.
Yeah, it was kind of. I don't know. So, that was kind of weird.
So then he like later on. What?
I don't know how their communications stopped working, like during that time, because he rips off his little headpiece.
Yeah.
And is talking to that communicates with everybody
inside of the ship.
Yeah, because his isn't working for some reason.
Yeah, I think they should. It was a little bit of like feedback. Remember?
Yeah, it was like staticky or whatever.
Feedback, so he's like, oh fuck it, and he just took it off.
Yeah, and then another shuttle arrives.
Right, so they're thinking, oh, somehow they.
Well, Jake Gyllenhaal and the Japanese guy think, oh, we're getting rescued.
Right, because they did try to. They were making some attempts
to
do like distress signals and stuff like that, and they weren't sure if it went out or not. So at this point, they're thinking like, oh, they did hear our distress signals or whatever, and now they're gonna come and rescue us.
Yeah, but wait, and also Calvin. I forgot how did Calvin, because Calvin got locked into that one section. What was it, Zyra or whatever?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
And then because remember, Calvin was chasing like the blood,
right?
And went to Hugh.
Yeah, and then by the way, when he ate Hugh or like his leg and everything, he ended up getting like one of his He ate one of like the tracking devices that they have.
So now you can.
So now they could track him.
Calvin. And so he ends up back to like the place where Hugh is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jake Gyllenhaal locks him in there.
Right.
Which, like me, I would have been like, okay, now we need to find the Japanese homie. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, Calvin is stuck.
But they knew where he was, right? Because they had him on the sensor too, didn't they?
I don't think he was on the sensor at first until he got out of the pod.
Oh, okay.
I think the pod maybe jams up.
Because they did see him. Because right when he started going, and they're like, "Oh, he's going towards Calvin."
Yeah, no, but they didn't. I mean, wouldn't you have been like, all right, let's get this homie?
Yeah, I thought they were gonna go back from him, but they were kind of like.
But they're just like sitting around talking.
I think they're planning something, or they were thinking they're gonna get rescued, but then.
No, cause then the shuttle comes and then they start talking again. They're like, "Oh, this is not a rescue. They're pushing us in deep space."
Because at this point, the captain reveals that
the next firewall is they're just gonna get launched in space.
Right, because she had discussed this previously. She didn't tell anybody about this, but pretty much.
I think she told that one lady.
Okay.
Because remember, they're like, what was in writing? Remember when Jake Gyllenhaal was saying what's in writing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think she jumped out in space, because she was like, if I go in, we're just gonna die anyways.
Yeah. So it's revealed that pretty much that it's not a rescue. That if shit hit the fan, that they were just gonna push them out into space.
Yeah,
much.
just.
So she's telling Jake Gyllenhaal this, and then at the same time, obviously revealing it to the audience that shit hits the fan. We're just gonna push back into. We're gonna go into deep space, and that's it.
Just gonna die that way.
We're gonna have to just. Yeah, because they can't take the risk of going back to Earth with this thing.
Yeah. So Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't know this, and the Japanese homie doesn't know this. Right. So when the shuttle attaches,
that's when she tells him, right?
Yeah, and it also attaches to the place where Calvin is now stuck.
Right.
Which
so it kind of lets him out, almost, right?
No, because then that's when the Japanese homie was like, "Oh, I need to get out. I need like."
That's right. He's like, "Oh, it's a rescue,"
and so he books it to the place.
He leaves his pod and then he goes.
And he doesn't because he doesn't know Calvin is locked in there.
Right. He doesn't know what's going on. All he's thinking is it's a rescue.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where Calvin's at.
So that's what I was saying. Like, if I was like Jake Gyllenhaal and that lady, I would have tried to find or got to straight the Japanese homie and say, "Oh, Calvin is locked in here now. Like you can come out. Like, why am I leaving you inside your pod?"
Right. Yeah, but
yes.
So I mean, I guess.
I mean, for smart people, they're doing some straight stupid things.
But I mean, then you do got this fucking crazy Martian running around in there, so you're kind of like, you can't underestimate this thing, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. So the Japanese guy runs to where the shuttle docks onto the space station, and then he's trying to get inside the new spaceship. And so he is like cranking. He pulls out the crank to open up the door to the new spaceship.
And at the same time, then Jake Gyllenhaal and the girl start heading over there.
Yeah, they're rushing over there to like try to save the Japanese guy and all the people on the spaceship.
Right.
And so he opens it, and then that's when I think Calvin goes through, like, runs through everything, and I guess kills everybody in the new spaceship, right? Because he heard people yelling or something.
Is that what that was? Because I remember hearing a bunch of voices and stuff.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is going on? What is that?
Yeah, but that's what I thought. I was like, oh, Calvin is like just killed everybody in this new spaceship.
Right.
Because then like everything started, like the docking station started to rip apart, and all the suction was like trying to pull everybody out.
Right.
So the Japanese guy was still alive,
but he had
but he was trying to like crawl back into the to the space station
while fighting all the suction, pretty much.
Suction, and then Calvin comes up from behind.
Yeah. And then he's still he's getting away from him for a bit, right? And then he latches onto him. And at this point, Jake Gyllenhaal's there with the girl, and they're like, all right,
they're holding hands.
They're holding the Japanese dude's hand and bring him in, like to help him come in.
Like, have you played that one game, like Monkey in a Barrel?
No.
So they're like holding hands, like doing like a little ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
And trying to pull everybody up, and then Calvin is on his leg, crawling up.
And
crawling up the Japanese guy's like body.
Right, and he was gonna go like through the chain of people, right?
Yeah, to get back into, I guess, safety.
Right, but at that point is when Japanese homie says.
He's like, and he starts like fighting him off and like.
Yeah, he lets go.
Because Calvin was like crawling up on that lady's hand.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He was gonna go through the chain of people. Like he wasn't just gonna kill Japanese dude.
No,
he was trying to crawl through everybody.
Yeah, because this dude's way too smart.
Yeah.
And so the Japanese guy like grabs Calvin, pulls him back, and then like let's go, and it's like
himself, another one of those.
And then I don't know what, did he get sucked out or something? Because all of a sudden Calvin
did get sucked down, but then Calvin comes back up.
Yeah, but I mean, you never saw like what happened.
He's just gone.
And so,
and then Jake Gyllenhaal and the girl are coming back in,
right? And then Calvin's still crawling back up, real quick.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, you didn't even have to use the straight hands. You can crawl up anything pretty much.
Right.
There's no point in doing any of that.
I think at that point, Jake Gyllenhaal and the girl, did they kind of seal him off again? Or what happens? I don't know. Well, the next pretty much dilemma though is that they're back in the ship, and they're kind of like, what are we gonna do? At this point, I was kind of thinking too, like, cause it's kind of getting close to the end. So we have there's 4 down, there's 2 left. It's Jake Gyllenhaal and the girl, and then they started kind of getting all cold because all this, I forgot what happened in there.
The oxygen.
Something, all these malfunctions, all this shit's going on, and it starts getting really cold. And at that.
Because when the ship broke, remember it's like slammed into the space station.
Right.
And it just broke everything into the space station, and so all their life support is pretty much gone, and so they're pretty much dying. And also, when it smashed into the space station, it messed up the orbit again.
Right.
And they're going back into Earth.
Yeah.
And they have no more fuel to reorbit.
So at that point, that's when them two were talking, and Calvin was still wherever he was at.
Yeah, it was.
I was kind of thinking like that's how they're just gonna die like that. Like it was just gonna be them two just in space, cold as fuck, and they were just gonna die. Or were you already thinking like, okay, how's this gonna end? Or did you have any predictions at that point?
Well, I figured like it was just gonna hit Earth pretty much.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking like they were just gonna die because at that point everything just.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, how are they gonna get out of this?
Yeah, no fuel and everything.
So they start kind of. It kind of gets into that kind of. That Jake Gyllenhaal has kind of like an emotional moment. He's talking about because his childhood little storybook floats. Yeah. And he grabs it and he starts saying "Good night, world." Like I guess it's kind of like he starts reading the book, and it's kind of matches up with what's going on because it says "Good night, moon," "Good night, world," or whatever. And at that point, I was like, "Oh," and I think he says something, and he kind of gets an idea, right?
Yeah, he gets like an idea.
So they come up with this new plan where they have these pods, these like emergency.
Yeah, rescue. What they call them, rescue boats, right?
Right. So they hadn't mentioned anything about these.
I think they did once, yeah.
Oh, I don't really remember.
Yeah, I remember they're doing they were talking about the rescue boats before.
I probably didn't catch that. There's two rescue
boats, and they can only hold, I guess, one person.
One each. So then they come up with this plan that Jake Gyllenhaal is gonna lure Calvin
into one of them,
into his pod, and he's just gonna fly into deep space.
Yeah, because with the rescue pod it automatically is supposed to send you back to Earth when you launch it.
Right.
But he can override it and
from inside
and manually control it.
Right.
So his plan was to manually control the rescue boat and just fly as deep space as possible.
Right.
And then have the other lady go back to Earth. Because she didn't have to do anything. She just had to launch.
Right. So, and he was just kind of like, it's another one of those sacrifice moments where he said, fuck it, I don't want to go back to Earth.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with all those people.
Yeah, and I don't think he had kids or anything in the movie, right? He didn't have like a family or anything that they showed.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like this lone ranger kind of dude, and he was actually the longest. He had the longest.
Longest record.
Yeah, he was in the most consecutive days in space. So he had already been out there for a while, and he didn't really have a problem with it.
He didn't. He said he didn't really like Earth. He liked the hum of out in space.
Right. So then, obviously, she's like, "No, you can't do it," or whatever. But they end up finally deciding that that's what's gonna happen. That he's just gonna fly into deep space with Calvin, and she's gonna go back to Earth. So the plan is pretty much executed.
Yeah, but they're gonna use the little the oxygen torches,
right, to lure Calvin. Yeah, because at this point he needs oxygen.
Yeah, because supposedly he's
oxygen supplies. Yeah.
So Jake Gyllenhaal gets out, starts hitting the little oxygen torches,
which I thought this was a kind of cool plan. Like when they put it in, I was all right.
And so Calvin would see the oxygen torch and just straight jump at it, wrap around it, and start breathing in new oxygen.
Mm-hmm. So they're kind of laying a little trap.
Yeah. So this was one of the things I didn't understand is he was outside in space for a while, killing that one lady, and supposedly he can hold like he doesn't really need, he can hold his oxygen pretty much.
Yeah.
Like how like like seals, seals, you know how like all these underwater mammals can like store oxygen. So I figured like he just needs one, and he can just straight.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how much oxygen those things had and how depleted he was or whatever.
Well, I mean, it was enough for Jake Gyllenhaal to breathe without like the helmet and all that, and it was enough for that one lady to survive.
Yeah.
And this straight animal seems like a straight superhuman. Can just hold oxygen for no. Straight super Martian can hold oxygen forever.
Yeah.
So I figured like, oh, dude, he just needs one fool, and he's just gonna just kill him. But I mean,
yeah. But then it would have fucked up the movie. So we gotta
yeah.
has to stick to the script.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, he's gonna
just get one and then
and he's just gonna kill Jake Gyllenhaal. And now this lady's stuck by herself with Calvin, and that's when I figured, oh, it's just gonna end with the straight International Space Station going into Earth. She's gonna die from like impact, but Calvin's gonna still survive. That's what I thought it was gonna be.
No, I wasn't at that point. I didn't even know what was gonna happen. I thought like it was gonna be it was gonna go according to plan. So which it kind of did because he kept following the
oxygen torches. Right. And then when so Jake Gyllenhaal gets into the rescue boat.
As planned.
Yeah, and then Calvin goes in and gets the last oxygen torch, and then Jake Gyllenhaal shuts him in,
traps it, starts to override,
and then
meanwhile the other girl
is rushing to get to the plant.
So he's a little bit ahead of her, but she ends up getting to her pod. So then he ejects or whatever, and now he's kind of in space.
Well, he's like waiting for her to eject for some reason, like because he's like. Where are you? Hurry up!
Yeah. But he ends up going out there first, and then he sees her launch out, come out. So at this point, this is pretty much like the ending. So this is like so they're both now they're in space. She's on her way to Earth, and he's just going to deep space. And at this point, Calvin has him like she's kind of wrapped around him. He's kind of attacking Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, he like wraps around his hand
and around his helmet, and then you get I thought it was a pretty cool shot where you see the Calvin the Martian from close up, and he kind of reveals how he really looks, kind of like a close up of the face.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then so when the lady ejects, that's when Calvin starts controlling the other ship and runs into the I think like clips that one lady's rescue boat.
There was some contact, right?
Yeah, and then like because then like both of them start like spinning, and it's like this shell game where you're like, which
so this is super spoiler alert right here because this is the actual ending. How we're about to get into how it actually ends, right? So exactly like
so it starts doing the shell game, like in New York where they say what cup is
like who's in who, like which pot is which.
Yeah, and so it starts mixing around, and then you see one screen where it's pointing to deep space. Then you see the other one with the nice orbit to back to Earth. And then you see it go into Earth, and then you see one flies away, and then one goes the other way.
Right. So at this
point, they start distancing themselves from each other.
So
one's going deep space, the other one's going to Earth.
Going to plan. Yeah. Like everything's cool, and then we see it kind of going through the Earth's atmosphere, and then it
starts burning up, and then the parachute
comes out, and then now this pod is like approaching the sea.
Yeah, and it lands into some like the Indian Ocean or something.
Yeah, some ocean.
It was
some foreign people. I don't know.
Foreign people?
Well, they were like.
It looked
maybe
like
Asian or something?
maybe Thailand or something.
Thailand, Indonesia, somewhere over there.
Yeah, because they had the like it looked like not really junk boats, but they were kind of like fishermen boats.
Yeah, so they show these fishermen and they see this pod land into the ocean or the sea.
Yeah, and so they rush up to get to the pod because they have no idea what it is.
Yeah, so they see it land, and at this point, I tell my girl, I'm like, I think that inside of that thing it's gonna be fucking Calvin.
Yeah, I figured that when they started doing the mixing game.
I didn't really think about it then.
Because when they did that, I was like, dude, there's like if it's gonna be like it's like you're doing that to trying to distract us of like they just mixed them up. Mm-hmm. So I figured like, but it might be.
Yeah, but I still thought like, based on him controlling from the inside or whatever, like he's still gonna go to deep space and she's gonna go to Earth. Like I thought they were still gonna know their direction. The pods themselves are gonna.
Yeah, I just figured because like I don't know what the point of having that whole shot in and with the monitors of showing one going. I was like, yeah, something was up. I was like, oh, it's gonna be.
So I remember telling her that, and then so the fishermen approach it, the pod, and then they look through the window. And it's fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. He's still alive. Yeah. And he has the whole Calvin looking super big because it's kind of wrapped around him all crazy.
It looks like he's stuck in a spider web.
Yeah, it looked like a web, but it's all Calvin's arms. And then like these guys obviously don't speak English, so he's telling them like, no,
like don't open
the door. Yeah. Don't open the.
And like he's like reaching, like trying to tell him to stop, and then
because now they're on Earth and he doesn't want him to get out.
Yeah. Do they open it?
They open it, I think. But then at that point it's that top view.
Yeah, it's top view, and then you see just more boats just coming towards it.
So.
And it's like.
And then at the same time they're showing that the other lady, the captain, she's over there in deep space.
Yeah, straight. Yelling, just
and the fucking thing's going crazy, right? Isn't it kind of like
spinning out of control?
Spinning out of control. She's in deep space, so that was like the twist. So it ended up being that there was a switch because where she was supposed to be obviously on Earth, and he was supposed to be in deep space, and that's the last shot you get is the reveal that Calvin made it to Earth, and everybody's gonna be fucked, dude. So.
I mean, which it was. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to have life too, I guess.
Oh, I don't necessarily think they were aiming for a sequel. I just think like they just wanted to kind of.
I think they thought sequel because I think because they were doing so much Alien. I think they were like, oh, if they get the buzz like Alien does, it's gonna have to have a sequel.
And what? And this Calvin's just on Earth?
Yeah, I guess.
Have to fight it? I don't know. I don't think they will. I hope not, because it's just gonna get stupid if they do that. But I kind of, I don't know. What do you think about the ending though? Did you like it, or did you or did you want a happy ending?
I have like real no opinion with the ending. The ending was like just whatever to me.
Yeah, it kind of like I had said, it kind of reminded me of like a Planet of the Apes. I don't know, for some reason, like
the
Statue of Liberty type.
Marky Mark. Planet of the Apes?
No, well, the original one. Well, either one, because you know at the end where you kind of get like that reveal where you're like, oh no, like.
Yeah, that was Marky Mark, right?
Yeah.
Where he.
Well, that one too, but in the original one too, they show the Statue of Liberty. You know what I'm talking about?
And
their whatever. In the Marky Mark one, they show the Abraham Lincoln.
Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
I don't know why I got like a feeling of that, like with this ending. But I don't know. I guess it was cool because it was kind of a twist, but it wasn't meh. But at least it wasn't like a happy ending where some happily ever after. Yeah. So I don't know. But overall, it was pretty cool. I'd recommend it. Like we're just kind of criticizing it because those were parts that we didn't like.
Yeah, the problem was just like way too many, situational things that happened that were way too convenient.
And this thing was just really smart, like really
way too smart. Like, like have you seen Demolition Man?
No.
So there's like a running thing in Demolition Man of like 3 seashells. So like when you go to the bathroom, instead of toilet paper, there's 3 seashells, which. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but I have no idea and Sylvester Stallone is like, dude, like what are these 3 seashells? And everybody's like, dude, like you're a straight peasant. Like, how do you not know how to use this? And they're like always making fun of him. And I was like, fool, I don't. Yeah. Like if you get dropped into some crazy out of this world straight Earth.
Yeah.
you're not gonna know anything that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's gonna be way too foreign. Like you can't comprehend what's happening.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
But Calvin somehow comprehends everything.
He adapted to everything, and he was just way ahead of the game. Like
yeah, I don't. Yeah. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like he would understand.
And the only thing you could chalk that up to is that it's from a different.
He's
planet,
an alien,
so you don't know his intelligence and.
Cause like if you watch Alien, the alien's not super smart. It's just it's a animal
killer,
pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not like that.
It's just I mean that thing's just trying to survive technically, pretty much, you know. But nothing it does is like way too like, oh dude, like how does it know to do that?
Yeah. And then so this came out, and then we have Alien coming out, the new Alien in a couple months.
Yeah.
And I wonder how. I guess that coincidence. You know, I always feel like when there's movies that are so similar like that, that it kind of sucks because you're thinking like, we made this whole movie and then this other one that's kind of like it comes out right before it.
Yeah, I mean I haven't seen any Alien. What is it, Covenant?
Covenant, I think so.
I haven't seen any of the trailers, so I don't know if it's gonna be.
No, I don't think it's similar
because I mean
because it's not gonna be. It's obviously not a remake of the first one where they're in like space and all that stuff. At least I don't think so. But because we're trying also not to watch the trailer.
Yeah, because I'm really looking forward to the new Alien.
Yeah. But this
because one, I mean Alien 3 they got away from all of that, I think. Alien and was it Alien Resurrection, it was they got away from all. I think you saw it in the theaters with me, right?
Resurrection?
Yeah. When the aliens were like underwater.
I'm not sure. Was it a long time ago?
Yeah, it was long time ago.
Probably, but I don't remember, dude. Was it like 15 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, I mean they got away from like the whole alien type of feel. So I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think it's gonna be, I think it's gonna build upon what's already established in the Alien.
The thing is though that for this one we didn't really have expectations, so it ended up kind of coming out to like a CC plus. Yeah. Alien, like I think we kind of have high expectations, so it has to execute. Because if not, then we're gonna be like, it's gonna be let down. That's the only kind of problem.
Yeah, when you do like established franchises.
Yeah, you're like, but I think it is. I don't have a feeling. I think it's gonna be good. So.
Hopefully.
Because it's gonna suck. Because if we're like waiting this whole time, or even avoiding the trailer, and it doesn't hold up, it's gonna suck. But hopefully it does. Because it's been a while, right, since they made it. Well, the Prometheus, they came out with Prometheus.
Yeah, that one I didn't.
Yeah, but I think the general consensus for that was a lot of people liked it.
Prometheus.
Yeah, like it was pretty cool. I mean, a couple of my friends told me it was cool, and I didn't even watch it. I haven't even watched it, but. And then when we go to see Alien, we're gonna probably go back and watch the Alien movies again.
Yeah.
We'd probably do like a show where we're just reviewing all those and the lead up to the new Alien.
Yeah.
We could do one like each.
I think we should watch the whole franchise.
We probably could, because there's some that I'm gonna see for the first time. Because I'm gonna see some of them for the first time. It's gonna be cool. Because the only one I've seen recently was the first one, Alien, the original one. It's always on kind of on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that. We'll watch all of them, even if some of them, the later ones aren't as good. And then we'll just do that as a lead up to the new one. If you haven't seen it though, it is worth the watch. I mean, I'd recommend it for sure. It's not an A+. Obviously, we already talked about that, but it was a fun movie. Like, it was cool. Friday night we went just to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you should like compare it to. I mean, it's pretty much Alien, but try not to go in thinking you're gonna get the masterpiece like Alien is.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say too.
Like don't
just take it for what it is. Try to take it as its own movie. Yeah, they kind of took the whole fucking whole premise and everything.
Yeah, they lifted it a bit, but I mean.
But hey, just go in there and have fun with it, like.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going in for fun, it's fun. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be like fun, like Fast and Furious fun.
No, but it's got like it's cool little suspense, it looks like a cool little thriller, sci-fi, and some parts are kind of slow or whatever. So. All right. Yeah, so check it out, and then we'll see you guys next week.
This was the HellFire Club Podcast, reviewing life. We'll see you guys later. See you guys later. See you guys later.